Fairly recently, my sister and I had an epiphany involving the Hakuoki game, particularly the reason I attached myself to the character Todo Heisuke. Spoiler alert, it's resonance. I resonate with his feeling lost, confused, and like everyone around him has their act together while he has no idea where he's going or supposed to go. My sister, on the other hand, resonates with being the outsider looking in that regard. He reminds her of herself when she was that age, much like how I remind her of the same thing. As a result, she sees him as a younger brother more than a possible romantic interest. I've attempted to make this video on resonance about 5 times or so. Once it was a collab with my sister, as she can explain it better than I can, but now let's try to do it myself, shall we? Now, what is resonance? Well, in the sense that we're speaking of, the definition found from Merriam-Webster is not helpful. At all. 6 definitions and not one of them refers to what we're talking about. However, trust me, the definition we'll use is legit when speaking of fiction. Collins' dictionary speaks of how a resonance for someone has to do with it having a special meaning, like the feelings of a strong family unit will resonate with someone. So let's dig deeper into the types of resonance in fiction. Resonance within a genre, resonance with life, and resonance with emotional needs. Today we're going to focus primarily on resonance with life, but let's give quick explanations of the other two. Resonance within a genre is simple and is specific to fictional stories. Those who like epic fantasy, for example, will gravitate to long-winded definitions and explanations of lore, while others might find those things tedious, strange, and outright annoying. Romantic comedy lovers, however, will enjoy crazy random happenstances that bring the two leads together, even though those who aren't accustomed to the genre will write off those moments as overly convenient for the plot. That's resonance within a genre. Once you're used to a specific style of storytelling, it's hard to get into those of a different approach. Resonance with emotional needs is possibly the most difficult one for me to grasp based on the book Writing with Resonance. Though in hindsight, it's actually pretty simple once you get it. When you're seeking a specific feeling or emotion, you will lean towards stories that promise to fulfill those needs. In the 1960s, it was argued that fantasy/sci-fi should be categorized as wonder literature, because that is the main emotion attempted to ensue from most, if not all, in that genre. On to the meat of this analysis, resonance with life. Remember what I said at the beginning of this video about Heisuke? That's resonance with life. Other examples would be my resonance with Goku to always attempt to do the right thing, even if I feel I'm not the right person for the bigger jobs and when push comes to shove I struggle to remain completely selfless. I also resonate with most of the cast of Ouran High School Host Club. For years I would resonate with Kyoya at attempting to meet family expectations laid out by older siblings. Of course, now I realize that they have their act together as well as I do, which is not very much. I resonate with Kaoru and his attachment to a sibling, wanting to stay by their side forever and being unsure what they would do without them, yet wanting to see them branch out and find someone else to attach to. With Honey, I resonate once again with expectations, wanting to like what I like without my parents being ashamed of me as I struggle with wanting to become an animator like my dream demands. Basically, there's a reason that Ouran is one of my favorite anime of all time, and all of the above is it. I'm a huge believer that 99% of the time we love a story due to its resonance with life. However, that's a controversial opinion, it seems. Oh, it resonates with you? That explains why you like garbage. Maybe it is, so what? If a story succeeds at connecting you to it, then I believe it's done its job. Granted, this has nothing to do with objectivity. This is all about whether or not a story is doing its job, not about whether it's well written or not. This is purely a subjective view on the art form. A story can be extremely well written, but a story can be extremely well written, but if the decisions the characters make no sense to you because they simply do not resonate on even the slightest level, instead of finding enjoyment, you find frustration. Take Rakurai's take on Jane Eyre, or her view of the Android Saga, for example. I resonate with the Dragon Ball team's issues with uncertainty and indecision. He does not. Therefore, it makes perfect sense to me why Krillin would eventually let Android 18 go, or Trunks would act out of character, quote-unquote, for half a second and not power up to defeat Cell while he possibly has the chance. Yes, I know in the end his power-up was useless, but he believed it would work at the time and that's what mattered. Yet, he sees these things as ridiculous plot-demanded stupidity. Neither experience is wrong, though it goes to show how magical art can be, particularly the art of storytelling. There are as many reactions to stories as there are experiences with life, which means as many as there are people who have ever lived/will live on Earth. It is a hard balance to keep up with and requires extreme thought to attempt to separate your resonance or lack thereof with a story's quality. This is why I attempt to stay away from reviewing anime outside of the quick quip here and there. This is also why I get frustrated with many self-proclaimed reviewers on YouTube who have zero to no training or research on the topics they are attempting to speak on. It's impossible to keep your residents 100% away from your experience, and many YouTubers fall into the trap of confusing it with quality. Oh, that anime resonates strongly with me. It must be well written, or vice versa. I see this a lot and have even fallen into the trap myself unknowingly, and these people all do it unknowingly. Dragon Ball Super changed the characters of Dragon Ball and thus separated my resonance with them, particularly Krillin. This is why I speak so often about the characters being out of character and why I often had my outbursts on the topic. All this to say, the characters may be written differently, but they're written differently because the current writers resonate with them differently. They each focus on the parts of the characters that they themselves saw. This is why official continuations should be written at least 95% by the original source's creator. Fanfiction, unofficial continuations, and anything like that are free game. See also the Bardock special. All in all, if you're attempting to review a story, be honest with your audience with your personal resonance experience. More importantly, be honest with yourself. Telling everyone and yourself that you are keeping personal feelings out of your view of the story in question is doing such a disservice to the art form and is, dare I say, disrespectful to the artists involved. Just make it clear to everyone, this story doesn't resonate with me, so that's my bias, or this character in particular resonated with me, so I'll be biased towards their story and will be upset if they aren't given enough spotlight. Cough, cough, Dragon Ball fandom. All of the above also goes for music. Oh, but what do I know? I haven't had a proper upload in months.